Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new week of medical terminology. This week we're covering Chapter 5. It's Week 5, Chapter 5, and we're going to be talking about muscles and tendons. So this chapter is called The Essentials of the Language of Orthopedics and Rehabilitation. So we already know from this last week that orthopedics has to do with the correction and cure of diseases of the musculoskeletal system. So last week we were kind of all about the skeletal part. Now we're focusing on the musculo part of the musculoskeletal system. So muscles, we're talking about muscles. A big part of this week's material is rehabilitation, which is the therapeutic restoration as much as possible of an ability to function as before. Okay, so rehabilitation. You've been learning about breaks and sprains and tears and replacement surgeries. So now we're going to learn about what comes next, that restoration, restoring function after we've had this injury and medical intervention. Okay, so some red flag moments from the chapter. Abbreviations. I mean, there could not be any more abbreviations. This is a very abbreviation heavy chapter. These are tough to memorize, so pay attention to them, practice them. For me, I think the best, there's no special trick. You know, I love to bring you memory tricks as much as possible. I don't think there's any really effective one for abbreviations. The best thing I think you can do is just to kind of use them, like get going, put these into practice, learn them, and just practice using them, especially like when you take notes. Just use those abbreviations. It's helpful. It saves your hands from having to write words out, and just it helps you get familiar and kind of cement them in your mind, because of course repetition is the key to retention. So just get to practicing with the abbreviations. The other red flag thing from this chapter is just there are so many specialists of the multidisciplinary care team that are talked about in this chapter. Social workers, nutritionists, physical therapists, physical therapy assistants. I mean, the list goes on. There's just a lot of people that are involved in that rehabilitation process. So lots of specialties to remember this week. Just maybe, read about them, think about what they do sort of in the story. I think reading the case reports really helps at the beginning of each lesson. Read about these specialists, what they do, how do they help people restore function and get well. And then of course, all these specialists, pretty much all of them have abbreviations too, like DO, PTA, PT, MD, OT, it goes on. So get ready for that. The final red flag moment for this chapter is there are a lot of words that are related and similar, and maybe are in the same category, but are ultimately different. Similar, but not the same, like adaptive equipment, and assistive devices. Similar, not quite the same. Activities of daily living and instrumental activities of daily living. It's like, okay, so similar, but they're different. Oh, and those are abbreviated as well. ADLs, IADLs. Okay, and then rehabilitation medicine, restorative rehabilitation, maintenance rehabilitation. Just all these like subtle, like terms that are related but slightly different. So just a little extra to the details this week in the chapter. Okay, but that's all from me for now. I hope you enjoy reading about the system, enjoy reading about the muscles. As you read, maybe pay attention to your musculoskeletal system, take a stretch break, sit up tall at your desk, relax your shoulders. I know I do that when I'm like feeling tense, my shoulders just creep up to my ears. So maybe just consciously breathe and lower those shoulders, just take care. Okay, so happy studying, enjoy, keep up the fantastic work, and I will see you soon in the live session. Bye, everybody.